Hello, my children. Welcome to the third game. Longzhu Gaming versus Immortals. Immortals. The Immortals will die today. That's what I imagine. I have very high hopes for Longzhu in this tournament. It will be quite exciting. Yongzhu Kim versus Song. It will be quite insane. I'm hyped for Longzhu. I am so excited. Already looking at the draft, they're throwing in the Kazakhs. They're throwing in some juicy things. Let's take a look here. Kog'Maw banned. Tristana is still in the picture. Janna banned. Lulu as a counter ban. Would Lulu be the first pick if Janna, would Lulu be the first pick with Janna ban? Important question. Let's pay attention to that as we go further into the tournament. I'm not too sure. I think teams have the guts to play trash into it, But then again, these games, we've seen 2 games so far, and the games at Worlds have gone very slow in the early game. Very, very slow. Not much happening, and then it's all about those 15 to 25 minutes marks. Who comes in strongest at that point, and not too much happening. But looking at this game, we got Ezreal in the jungle, boom. We got Kazakhs in the jungle, beam, boom, pow. And then we got Talia in the mid lane. This is going to be explosive for sure. So Jarvan as the first pick, Ezreal as a count. Ezreal is exciting as a jungler because he's very powerful early on, and he can pull off some sick ganks and sick pressure in the early game because he does a lot of damage with his Q and can be very frustrating to play against and can create very cheesy situations for yourself. The negative side effects of Ezreal is that his items are very, very pricey, and he's not necessarily a tank, so you need to get that from top lane, which of course IMT are doing here with the Maokai. Beauty of Ezreal as well is that he can get away from the Jarvan Cataclysm, right? So straight off the bat is not too bad. Varus is also blind picked here. Talked about Varus in the previous game, and I'm actually a big fan of Varus. Xayah and Kalista's out here, and Varus blind as an AD seems to be fine. You're going to do fine in the lane phase, and you're going to be stronger in the lane phase, and eventually you can reach that point where you can do great things around the 20-25 minutes marks, because that's where you spike hard. I am excited to see the Varus build. Will we see a Ginsu again? Will we see a Ginsu Hurricane? Will we see Blade Hurricane? I was actually a big fan of the Ginsu Hurricane because you spike very hard around 20-25 minutes, and that seems to be like the trend of the game. Who is strongest at this point in time? Who can secure the first national? So I'm a big fan of Varus in the current meta. Tristana, on the other hand, if the game prolongs and you reach 3 items with Tristana, that's where you you pop off, right? Talia, I'm a big fan of Talia. I think as a champion, she can always provide the same thing. There are champions that are good into Talia, and you can always be fine against Talia. You can always pick things into Talia, but as a blind pick, she always provides the same thing, right? She can always support fights, even though she doesn't have priority. She gets priority in the early game, and it is something that won't get heavily punished by something like the Ezreal, right? Eventually, though, Ryze as a pick, when he reaches some items, he's going to heavily outpush Talia and do very well. Not heavily, but will be able to contest the push in mid and eventually go into side lane and destroy whoever comes side lane. Kha'Zix comes in again. Kha'Zix is a champion that got hit with a few nerfs, but not too big of a deal. I think Kha'Zix, the main nerf for him was the strength of all these tanks. But we got a game where Ezreal's in, so Kha'Zix works big time, and there's a lot of squishy targets here for Kha'Zix to go for. And in mid lane, the amount of damage they have in mid lane is enough to one-shot Ryze, which is very important, right? If Ryze gets his combos off and all his spells off and gets to survive for a longer time and gets to proc Storm Raiders, then it's hard to kill. But I think Kha'Zix can do that thing wonderfully. Of course, we want Longzhu to buy a bunch of Merc Threads because there's a lot of CC here on IMT. They need to buy Merc Threads. Something that we need to also mention is the Karma. I think we saw it in the play-in. I think this picking Karma here is going to be strong against Morgana in the lane. Stronger than Morgana in lane for sure. And also it's going to be an Ardent Sensible, right? So it's definitely a good pickup. I think the synergy between Karma and Tristan is going to be neat because Tristana has a lot of pushing power when the minions are low, right? And Karma can push and make the minions low, and then Tristana synergizes well with the pushing power, right? So pushing wise, it's going to be possible for Tristana Karma to contest Morgana Varus. But main thing here is that Morgana Varus will spike very hard at level 6. Their level 6 is very strong, their level 1 is very strong, so they have a bot lane that definitely is stronger, I would say, lane wise. So this is something we need to pay attention to. But then there's Talia in the picture, and it's a question of who has priority in mid at that point in time, at around like 7-minute mark, 8-minute mark, like who's going to be the one dictating the pace of the game. So very exciting game, very exciting. Let's see if Maokai is indeed the last lock-in. It is. Maokai AD Lul. I don't know if you can hear my filter here. I'm filtering some water. I decided to invest in a water filter. I'm going to show you guys. This is a mini water filter right here. You know, can filter some water. It's pretty decent. Of course, I don't drink water from the tap. That's for the peasants. No, I'm just kidding. It's just that it contains a lot of metals, and it's a bit poisonous almost, you know. Not poisonous per se that you will die like some king and you have to tell your son to avenge you. Son, avenge me, you know. It was my brother, your uncle. He poisoned the water. No. I'm just saying it's like long term it's better to drink refined water, you know. I don't know if refined is the right word, maybe, but clean water. Let's hop into this one. Early game is all about the interaction between Ezreal and Kha'Zix. What will happen there? Early on, Talia should be able to get some vision onto the Ezreal, maybe through Raptors or something. Longzhu stacking on top side. IMT have a pretty decent level 1 here because Ezreal is really powerful. And but the same thing can be said for maybe like Talia and Karma. They're also very strong champions here. Seems like the play is quite mirrored here. The main thing here is Longzhu. They don't know. They really don't know about IMT here. And the main thing here is Longzhu didn't get any vision. They didn't get any vision, and IMT played a good card here. The good gamble card. They got deep vision, and Longzhu didn't really equalize that. So it's very important. And at the same time, Longzhu have to be very scared because they didn't see any of the enemies here. Very good play from Immortals. Smart level 1 here. I like what I see. Okay, my phone is distracting, so I'm gonna turn it around, mute it. Don't need to see that H3 Productions have released a new video. That is for later. Right now we are working. Whenever I see Cuz's name, I'm thinking like I hear this phrase in my head. What up, Cuz? What up, blood? I don't know why. Xmiri is doing the classic thing of killing a few raptors. Killing raptors is really a hassle for Ezreal. You know, he loves killing the bros, the stone bros. You know, the golems and the red buffs and the Grompovich. That is what Ezreal loves to kill because he has a lot of single target DPS, right? So it's all about that. But at this point in time, you know, everyone's aware of what Ezreal can and cannot do. We have some Star Guardian Ezreal going on. Mid lane seems quite even. I think Xmithy is... I need to think before I say this, but I think Xmithy is the best Western jungler at this tournament. Trick, Broxa, Svenskeren, before he ganks here and does some juicy things in bot lane. Broxa, Trick, Maxlore. Maxlore is the name. Svenskeren. Who else? What other NA teams are there? C9. Contracts. Yeah, I would say Xmithy is the best. Maybe Maxlore is second best. Yeah, I would say Xmithy is the best. That was a massive waste of time. Let's take a look now. Xmithy coming in with the poke. Nothing forced prey. With some juicy movement. I always thought that people would run Fervor on Ezreal because it just seems to make more sense. Like Storm Raiders, do you really, really need it? I'm not too sure. I'm not too sold. I would, if I would play Ezreal jungle, I would go Fervor. But we'll see. Maybe this is something that we'll transition into later on. Varus now 21 CS. The gank paid off, right? They were slow pushing, so they were losing a lot of CS here. They were slow pushing, and Xmedi's gank was a good timing gank. They chunked both Prey and Gorilla. Gorilla is being a bit greedy here. He has the refillable potion, right? So he's playing for the long run. So the damage that Xmedi did here was definitely something that paid off here. Flash and Ghost. Maybe we can burn a Ghost on Ryze. Ryze is not in position to commit to any gank. Maybe we can E here from Xmedi. No, he's too scared. It's irrespectable, right? If Talia places her knock up properly, then Eing in is going to be something that you will have to pay your flash for. But I was thinking, like, if he E's in, he's going to proc Storm Raiders, and with Storm Raiders he can dodge the E. Like, that could be a play that you could consider, right? Top lane is kind of a fiesta. I think Jarvan needs to reach a couple of items before he can start pressuring Maokai, but even at that point, it's not going to be too exciting, I feel. I think for Kha'Zix, all he's looking for is to get his level 6, and when he gets his level 6, then he can start to punish this Ezreal. The beauty of this is that Kha'Zix can, in Ezreal's first clear, something that Kaz did was he took away the Raptors of Xmithie, which is massive, right? Because the clear of Ezreal is really predictable. And after that, the big issue with Ezreal for me is that his clear is very slow. Like, he can kill Gromp and buffs rather fast, but killing Golems is hard for him because they have more armor, right? They take more magic damage. Killing Raptors is very annoying and it takes a lot of time. So as a jungler, if you don't get a lot of value out of Ezreal early, then it's hard to catch up. And then Ezreal becomes good again when he reaches Trinity Force, but that's such an expensive item, right? So I'm not too sold on the entire Ezreal jungle thing. Cuz played well by stealing away the Raptors. You can press tab, and when you see Ezreal for the first time, he's very, like, he has 4 CS, right? He's only taking the jungle camps. It's a very safe bet, and now Kha'Zix is in good state. When Kha'Zix reaches level 6, he can start to look for the Ezreal and start killing him and start dueling him very well, and I think that's a massive pointer too. This is a quite a bad trade, I would say, yeah, for Longzhu. Heal was used from Prey. I don't think it was necessary because he used it when he was under the effect of grievous wounds, if I saw it correctly. But I don't think it's worth it enough to go back and check. We move forward. Oh, why is this showing up? Yeah, there we go. We have a base in mid lane. Priority for Talia. She pushed in the wave. Looks like Ryze might have a bit of a mana issue here to push in this way, but it should be fine. He'll have a slight... what's the opposite of priority? The opposite of priority is going to be behind on priority here. He's going to base, and surprised by the item choice of BTD. I thought he would just go for the mana book. Game 3, I'm already feeling a bit of exhaustion, so I'm forgetting some of the names that I should know already, but mana book, I think everyone knows what I mean. A component from Relanomicon. Kaz is going to be the first one reaching level 6 here. As you can see, Xmithie is equal in XP, but he doesn't have any camps that have spawned for him yet. It looks like he's going to... he's just warding the red buff here, not taking too big risks, because he knows the enemy bot lane needs to base. IMT base first. He's just poking away and being annoying. Now let's take a look now. Pobelter has a good position on the mid lane, and Varus needs to farm it out here. They don't know the position of Tristana. She's walking out of base straight, right? So Varus is catching his wave here. That's not worth it to take any massive risks with this. Kaz is reaching his level 6 point. I think this is where the matchup against Ezreal might shift a bit. The ultimate with the stealth and the damage on Ezreal will be very important. Let's see now if any plays go down for Longzhu. Can they pressure Maokai under the turret up top? I sincerely doubt it. It's very different. I'm sure everyone saw the finals where Cho'Gath got dove, and it's very different. Jace was banned this game, and Jarvan was a flex pick, right? That's why the Jace ban came in. But Jarvan up top is just a scaling good pick in general, and it's not necessarily like, oh, he's going to stomp Maokai, he's going to destroy him. He's going to do fine. He's going to be able to trade, and he's going to do okay. And Maokai is going to be happy in this lane. And Maokai as a champion is something that scales very well too. But we have a Tristana. Oh, the Morgana Q misses, which was very, very important. Very important Morgana Q. Could have meant the kill on Prey. The ultimate makes them go out, but did they have to? I guess they had to. Yeah, it was good play. Cody-san had no flash. Good ultimate for Ryze. Liked the play. Could have also meant that Prey would have died there. It was very, very close. Prey didn't have heal to save Karma, but probably wouldn't matter anyway. Good play from IMT. Let's take a step back and see the build-up. Ryze is just straight out of base, walking bottom. It seemed like Talia and Ryze both based, and Ryze just went straight bottom. I like the play. To be honest, this situation, Prey would have just died if he got hit by the Morgana Q. So that could have even been a better play. I like what Pobelter did. Instead of walking through mid and contesting the wave that came up, he just went straight bottom and played it the other way around. I think it was a smart play. Flame used TP, but he cancelled it, so he's going to have to TP up further, before Khan. So good situation for Immortals. Very well played. This means that Flame could potentially set up a play where they play around the dragon. There's a timing window though that Pobelter, he based and went back into mid lane, and there's a timing window now for Longzhu to pressure into bottom. Khan hasn't based yet, and he stayed. Sure, they got a kill on Ole. Is that how you say him? Ole. Sure, they got a kill, but at the same time, they're losing a lot of waves top lane. So it's worth it? I wouldn't say so. Not necessarily. They don't they get a kill on Morgana, but the payoff is really, really small. Flame got a lot of CS top, and sure, the CS disparity between top and top is not that big. The main thing here is that Jarvan took some CS bottom, right? So that matters. If they can secure the Drake off of this, then it's huge. But all things considered, now I want to take a step back and check if there was a way for them to contest the Drake here. Maybe the problem here is that Xmithie took a long time to base, because to be honest, like if Xmithie based at any point here, then he could have been in time. He goes bottom to farm the wave. He could have been where Varus is now, and he could have potentially been here in time. Potentially. Ryze could walk up to his pink ward, and yeah, it would have been close. Yeah, I guess then the play from Longzhu is not that bad. Like the Morgana kill transitioned into the Infernal Drake. All things considered, like the situation, even if they didn't kill Morgana, right? They have Jarvan on that side of the map, and Flame stayed up top. They need to get something. So I think it was a very clear-cut play from Longzhu. At the same time, though, like Tristana's low HP, Morgana's out, so Morgana and Tristana are pretty much the same right now. Cody-san is walking out of base. Xmithie, if he walked out of base and maybe more like Flame base and walk straight. Trying to think of a way where they actually can defend this Infernal. So this is the play initially. Flame cancels his TP. Khan finishes it. Pobelter has to take a long route around to mid lane. Maybe that is the issue here. Like, Khan prevents Pobelter and the bot lane to help Ryze from taking a good path. Cuz plays this good and walks into Ryze to force him off of the mid turret. He needs to take a very awkward path, but trades it for his ultimate. Ryze is now out of position. His team is now 4 bottom. Wow, Longzhu actually played this very well. I didn't even notice how Kazakh zoned the rise of the turret. Maybe the issue here is, if Maokai finishes his TP, are they the ones then making the Drake play? Like here, if the TP is not cancelled, do they just win the situation? Like Tristana is rather low on HP, so maybe it would have been better. Because I don't see any other way where they contested. Like Maokai would have to be here. Maokai would have to be here. Kha'Zix is back bottom. Ole dies. Prey can base. Xmith needs to base. Varus needs to base. Kha'Zix is very healthy to do the Infernal Drake. Yeah, there's no other way. There's no other way. They would have had to finish the TP of Maokai, committed to the situation, and been the ones forcing the Drake. And I think that's not really the best situation. Because they would have lost it. They were the ones forcing the Drake. But at least they could have gotten priority bottom, right? They could have gotten priority bottom, taken over river, and then make sure that Ryze goes into top lane, goes into mid lane for free. Because the biggest issue here is that Ryze gets zoned off mid tower, and they also lose both priority. Very well played from Kaz that he zones Pobelter and does it very, very well. Alright. So once again, if Maokai finishes TP, here, they would kill this wave, walk into topside river. I remember Tristana's really low HP here. And sure, Varus as well. We can count both ADs out. Let's say both ADs go base, and then they would be 3. They would be 4 versus 3, and Maokai would be here, and then they would guarantee the safe passage for Ryze into mid lane, and they would push our bot lane, and they would have a kill and a good base situation. I think, yeah, Maokai should have probably finished his TP here then. The other play, right, is Maokai gets to push top for free, he cancels his TP, he gets TP up first, but then you just have to give up the situation here. But is that good? You know, you just keep someone under the turret and then you walk up top side. I don't know. I just feel the problem here is that you lose river control. That's it, you know. Khan is there and you just lose river control. Okay, so there was a lot of summoners burnt, right? So Jarvan's cage can mean a lot. Maokai stayed up top, he got some CS. Jarvan got some CS bottom, so for matchup wise, it doesn't really impact that much. Talia in mid lane. Maybe the next place where the pressure will happen is where Pobelter is. He has no summoners on his Ryze. And I think Longzhu, if they play through mid lane at this point in time, then they should be stronger in the 2v2. We have a finished warrior enchantment on the Kha'Zix and no summoners on Ryze. I believe this is where the realm of possibility is. They should contest the river and pick up some pinks. And Immortals are doing the smart thing where they try to look for some good ultimates here, and that is one. Ooh, the banana. Ooh, why? Good play. It's very hard for Karma to get away from that Varus 6. You know, it's very easy to land the spell, and chaining this type of gank is a very good thing to do, because I think at this point in time, Longzhu are stronger around mid. Stronger in the 2v2 around mid. That's what I sincerely feel. Longzhu keep playing around it. Main thing here is that if the map is equalized, it's hard to kind of equalize on the fact that you have mid priority and play into bottom. Prey is just farming away. No ultimate on Varus, so of course Tristana is not under any heavy threat. Low mana on Jarvan, looks like he's planning to base. He has one corrupting potion stack though, and also there's one ticking if I see it correctly here. Longzhu playing a dangerous game. Very important base cancel though, right? Because if they got the base off here, then they would have been in time, you know. And right now they had to stay with lower mana on Varus, and he doesn't get to use the money from the gold kill, right? Because right now I think Morgana has enough to buy out and censor. So canceling their base is very important. Like Morgana has 2 kills. 2 kills. She has enough money to buy out and censor. Canceling her base is big. Main thing here is I don't know if Ola should just straight up just base, but in a case where they commit to this TP play, remember we talked about Flame being ahead on the TP because he cancelled him. This looks like a very good situation for Immortals. Very, very good. Prey still has his jump. 1 kill. Prey might die. He doesn't have Flash. Flash is just coming up. Double kill and probably the first tower as well. Khan will try to hit top tower for all his life, but it shouldn't be good enough. The main thing here I think Longzhu should commit to is try to pressure Rise in mid with Kha'Zix. Try to take his top side camps, and then the first gold tower, first third gold is not going to be that big of a deal if Jarvan can clear her. But Ezreal is sending a banana over there. The entire wave is dead. Khan is proxying. Would love to see Kha'Zix being more active here. He took red buff, his own, and maybe he can take the entire top side jungle of Immortals, and maybe the actual play will be a bit equalized. But keep in mind now, Immortals did get 2 kills, so of course there's no way to equalize that part of it, but the macro part of it, where Immortals, let's say they committed to that play bottom, and Longzhu responded correctly, where they backed off, and they had to back off, and they lost bot tower, then if you just look at the macro aspect of it, then it's not that big of a deal. But of course, Jarvan didn't even get the top tower, so what I'm saying is essentially nonsense. The banana slices the Karma in half. Very hard to play as Karma against Varus, you know. Post 6, it's a difficult situation. You just get perma rooted, you know, and hitting the ultimate is very, very easy, you know. That's the main thing with Karma, right? It's like her level 6 is very weak because she practically doesn't have a level 6. Pretty much doesn't have a level 6, and this is something that we mentioned in the what's it called? I'm trying to find the word. In the champion select. There we go. I'm starting to feel the fatigue. You know, I'm starting to feel the fatigue. The words that I'm saying are stumbling a bit, but it's fine. I'll just try to do the reviews a bit slower, and we will take it easy. Let's pause and assess the game. Immortals have all summoners up. They're playing through top side. Top tower died right. Khan has TP, so that's what we have to pay attention to. Rise is starting to hit some big items, so he's starting to become strong enough to carry even Ezreal in these fights. But Ezreal, with the kills and assists he picked up bottom, he's not that weak either. So 2v2 mid is going to be exciting for sure. The main thing here is I feel like Immortals bot lane is strong enough to keep Longzhu from putting good wards. So Longzhu, I feel like they need to once again play through mid lane, play some good wards, pressure into top side, get those wards for Khan, and then make the play happen. So we will see how it goes down. Another against his Railways on Vayne, Varus. I feel like I've just missed this massive trend that was happening, and it's my bad. Maybe this is just the new shit, and I just missed it. Seems very, very powerful, you know. It makes sense to me. IMT are heavily respecting the fact that there's pressure from mid lane and that Jarvan might TP in here. That's good rules on Prey, but did Ola just queue a minion here? Did he just queue a minion? He queued a minion, bruh. Bruh. You queued a minion, man. Come on, Ole. I've been hearing things about the rank 1 North American support, and this is what we get to see, man. This is what we get to see. POB got caught in the jungle, had to TP in to the fight. Ole got slaughtered. Boom. Xmitty. Still has flash. He's safe. He's good. Ardent Senses doing work. Main thing here is Ole. Prey was dead, man. Prey was dead. Boom. Q in the minion. He was dead. He was meat. Question is it good to force things like this? You know, Longzhu are happy with the situation because Khan is up in this situation, right? Khan is right here. You know, he has TP. Maokai is stuck bot lane. This is a good situation. But at the same time, you know, Rise, he rotated into topside, but he's running into Kha'Zix right now. Right now, he's fighting Kha'Zix. Look at his HP drop. Look, look at his HP. Right, it's like a bad drum and bass song. He just drops because he faces Kha'Zix. Kha'Zix procs Thunderlord, Qs him, right? So Rise is in a bad situation. He runs into topside, and of course, Longzhu did the good thing of playing through mid. Kha'Zix around mid and cuts off Rise's path into topside. And Talia can of course join this. The question is then: is Immortal's play just risky to begin with? Should have just given up the turret. Ola dies. Maybe Prey could have died, but would the outcome been the same? You know, who knows? So the table will turn. Flame will be the one with the TP now. The main thing is, you know, when you're playing against TP, what you want to do as a top laner is you want to push your lane and then you want to walk into mid, right? And it's a very hard thing to do as Maokai. So the other play to do is that you go with Ezreal and Maokai, you try to go through bottom and then you play into mid and then into top and then you just collapse your pressure and then hope during this time that Longzhu doesn't execute a play. In this case, I felt like they just need to give up the top tower and be happy with it because that is the situation. And then Maokai would get priority bottom and then he would roam into mid and then eventually they could just force around Rift Herald and force a group situation where they could force Jarvan TP or force Jarvan to group in a situation that would be more beneficial to them, more equal. Because right now, as it stands, you know, they forced a situation that was very wonky. It was 4v5 pretty much, and Rise wasn't even a person there because he was pretty much caught in the jungle and Kha'Zix chunked him. A lot of summoners burnt. We have no summons on Morgana, no summons on Rise as well. And BDD is amounting big CS advantages here because there was now 3 occasions in the game where Kuz zoned Rise from coming back into mid lane and basically caught him in the jungle. So Kuz is doing a beautiful job here to keep BDD in the mix and keep him ahead in this matchup. Very, very well done. So when he's playing around mid, it's about suffocating Rise. It's not about just let's gank Rise, guys, woo! That's not what jungle is about. It's about being around mid, and then when Rise tries to roam and tries to move around or tries to push, that's where you are to punish him. So you suffocate Rise, make sure that he's stuck under his turret, and then you move away. Then you move away into their top side jungle. Rise is stuck under his tower, right? He's stuck under his tower and he can't face check you. He can't face check you. You have priority into the play top side. This time around, Pobelter did in fact face check. He got chunked by Kha'Zix and was instantly redeemed useless. So that is a little lesson for you junglers, you know. A lot of junglers is all about, you know, oh, I want to gank. You know, this was a good game for me. You know, I got plenty of kills. This wasn't a good game for me. My ganks didn't land, bruh. No, that's not the case. You know, it's about suffocating people. Yeah. Sounds pretty harsh when I think about it, suffocating people. But of course, it's about a game. Okay? Let's continue. We talk about summoners, Morgana, Rise, Gonzo. TP of Maokai is going to come up first, so it's going to be the table turning, the turn of the tables. How do you say this, man? The tables have turned. Maokai, you know, there's like this. I don't know if you guys have seen The Office. Michael says, like Michael in The Office, he says this quote wrong. So I've learned the quote, like I've relearned the quote, and then I just remember the wrong version because of Michael Scott. It's a good show. I'll have a link below, you know, for that joke, so you guys can connect to it a bit more. Okay, so let's reassess the situation. I went a bit off topic. Ezreal 103, Kha'Zix getting bigger. I think Talia has a bit of gold on her, I can imagine. Varus is hitting power spikes. 20 CS ahead on Tristana though. The previous play did secure a lot of CS because Varus had to give a lot up. Ezreal took a lot of Varus' bottom 2 when Varus had the base after like Ola died the first time. Let's take a look now. Flame is the one that's going to have TP soon. Longzhu is creating a situation where they are grouped. I don't think this should mean mid tower. Immortals are letting it damage a bit too much. Like Immortals doesn't have the best wave clear in the world, right? Oh, whoa. Cuz is playing a very risky game here. Like he is very cut off from his team. Flame did a good rotation here and cut the Kazakhs off here, and it was very beautifully done. Very well done from Flame here. He roamed in, and Kaz was a bit lost there in the woods. Of course, in this situation, I want to take a look at this the thing that is going on here. Jarvan is doing Gromp. He's going to group up. He doesn't have TP, right? Longzhu want to push the turret and then force Immortals to respond by being under the turret, and then they want to step into here. Or they just want to step into top side, right, and ignore bottom because they don't have a third bottom. They want to play around Rift. Because definitely here, like, what they could have done is pressure into here and then walk up here and then start pressuring the Rift Herald and force the enemy team to group in the situation where they will have a TP advantage soon. Because the way I see it here is that Jarvan goes straight top, starts pushing the wave, they get priority through mid, and then they walk top side and keep maintaining pressure on 2 lanes. Because right now, Kaz is playing on the wrong side of the map, for sure. You know, he was so stuck in the thought about zoning Ryze from the turret, you know, he was still in the jungle, you know, I'm gonna zone Ryze. Well, he got caught here. Straight, simple, clean, and cut. So right now we see a bit, ooh, what happened here? Xmitty, bro. Bruh. BDD. I think he was just walking bottom, you know. He wants to be bottom because he's the one with the Talia ultimate, so it kind of works like a TP, right? And Xmitty just ran into him. Kind of sucks, you know. He had flash as well, and I think there's a world where he could have survived that by playing it better. Okay. So Kuz died because they played around the wrong side of the map. Xmitty died because I'm not sure what he wanted. He maybe wanted to place a good ward or something. Maybe he thought he could use the package or something. So here, for sure, Kuz is playing on the wrong side of the map. Khan is already going top. He's going for the top wave. He wants his team to get mid priority, play through mid, and then go to top. And then they want to play on 2 lanes. Let Maokai do whatever he wants on bottom. And then eventually they will out pressure and force Maokai to move. And maybe they'll lose a lot of CS for trade of an Infernal, or not Infernal, but the Rift Herald. And it would have been better. But Xmitty, this is like, you know, this is some Sejuani ulti level play here. Let's take a step back. I saw Tristana was hitting before the replay, was hitting the Rift Herald a bit, tickling a bit. Was completely unnecessary, it seems. I'm kind of sad because we don't get to see what happened from the previous play, but let's say Immortal's just walking out, Tristana is behind on tempo. We have Talia in the bot lane. Seems like a free, easy Immortals pickup here. Talia is kind of far away and so is Tristana. It seems like Rift Herald should just be down. Like Talia, even though you could call it a global, what she has, but it's not necessarily really a global, right? She doesn't TP. You know, it doesn't. Like if you're in Europe, it gets you to like North Africa, but it doesn't get you to like California. You know. Boom. Geography. So let's reassess the situation. Talia is quite strong. Immortals want to play a game where they have, like, they can put both Varus and Ryze on side. The hardest question for them is who they put mid. I would say that they should put their bot lane in mid because they actually have like some good range to work with. It's hard to catch Varus Morgana, right? So I think that's the people they should play with in mid lane, and Ryze should be the one going on side because I think like Ryze can beat Jarvan 1v1 at this point. I definitely think he can. So putting Rise top lane and then putting Mortals bot lane and mid lane and contesting it together, I think is a good way to do it. It should be hard for them to kind of catch them. Eventually now Khan is going to get his TP, he's going to match Maoka in the bot lane. And then I'm imagining that Longsu will match enemy bot lane in top and keep Talia in mid. Well, let's see. No, the thing with Immortals composition is they can keep Ryze in mid too, right? It's not a big issue with it. They can play 3 on side and they can play with the same principle. They can keep Ryze in mid and he can just ult to the party. Main thing here is I feel like the main question here is for Cuz and where he decides to put his pressure, because he did it around Talia most of the time and it's worked out fine for them. Let's see if he continues to do so. I think here, like with Ryze and with Tristana, I think Tristana hasn't reached the point of range where she can just auto Ryze and just auto space him. I feel like if she autos once or twice, maybe 3 times, then Ryze can catch up and root. So I don't think necessarily Tristana can just shit on the Ryze yet. That means 1 turret, okay. Mortals playing through top side. River control in favor of Immortals top side, but Longzu's grouping up here. Talia can always join the fight, so she is essentially group 2. They can also play into bottom side right now, like if they take this opportunity where Immortals are basing, maybe they can create something on bottom side. There's no way though, Longzu is just securing the crab. I'm not quite sure when the Drake spawns. If I remember correctly, it should be around maybe 2 minutes. 2 minutes or so, 2-3 minutes. Should be accurate. And now Ryze is on the side. He's the one with the ultimate. Immortals need to try to get priority through mid. The main thing here that is a big issue is Tristana has gotten a lot of solo XP. Super much solo XP in mid lane against the Ryze, and Varus Morgana have been running around together. And Gorilla's playing very low economy, and most of the game Ezreal, Varus, Morgana have been sharing XP. Ezreal has been sharing XP, and Varus is now quite behind on XP. And the way Longzhu have played it is they kept Prey alone in mid lane taking waves, and Gorilla has been around, but at the same time he hasn't taken much of the experience. Talia has been catching side waves, and Kaz and Karma have played very low economy, and I like it, and it's definitely paying off, right? Because Prey is sitting now on a 2-level advantage. Kodisan reached 11, so it's not that big of a deal, but it's still 1 level advantage, right? And levels are so important. This is like pretty much a trade-off, right? You take 1 Karma level and give it to Tristana. I would do that any time of the day, right? Especially with Tristana, she gets more range with levels. It means so much. What we need to look for right now is all about the contention of waves in mid lane. What will be the big clash? Both teams recognize that they need to play around mid lane, and all the clashes will happen around there. We have the static shiv on Prey's side, so we can kill the creeps quite fast. Creeps. I want to say quite and creeps at the same time. And with that in mind, we can continue. Longzhu, they have the pink wards on top side river. They got the vision that they need. It's all about Immortals now breaking through this. Oh, that is the door. No problem, we are safe. It's not a murder. Longzhu playing around mid lane, maintaining pressure. I feel a bit unfocused. I'm sorry guys, I need to recenter myself. Cuz went for the base to refresh the wards. He had a bunch of money as well. Let's see what he picked up. Well, he didn't have a bunch of money. I think this was more of a ward refresh base more than anything. But Karma has 2 wards. So I don't know if it was necessary to give up the mid lane priority right now. Immortals have enough space. Just because they see both Tristana and Karma under the turret here, they can walk and face check here without any big issues. Jarvan is around, Khan is around. He's been clearing a lot of jungle camps. That's why he's so far ahead right now on the XP. He's been killing golems, been killing gromps. Now he also killed the Raptors. I would have been sad if I was Cuz, but that's the world of a jungler, you know. BDD, he should be able to wave clear this. He has the cleanse, so he can take a few risks here. Not a big deal. Jarvan pushed in the bot wave while Immortals were grouped up. Seems like Immortals are willing to give up the bot lane wave because Immortals just want to maintain this position around mid lane to be able to transition this into a Drake situation. The bot wave doesn't really matter, and if anything, Khan should be hitting the bot tower now to kind of put a ticking time bomb on Immortals. Because right now they're grouped as 5 and nothing is happening. Khan is going for the base. Let's see if he can pick up some big items. It's a Titanic Hydra. So of course, maybe this is more important to him than hitting the bot tower. But Immortals definitely have a big position advantage here, and it's very hard for them to kind of walk in here and create a situation where a Longzhu come in here. The main thing here is we have cleanse on Talia, and if Longzhu approach this in a way where they go in a concave and use wards to kind of find a path into the space, then maybe something can happen. But Immortals definitely have an advantage here. Varus ult lands, Karma gets one-shotted Karma. That's the difficult part with the kind of advantage of having the vision here. Very well played from Immortals. They've been grouping around mid for a very decent amount of time and for a very good reason. This should mean that Immortals can secure the Drake here, unless Longzhu pull off some magical things. Immortals are playing fantastically. I want to kind of take a step back and see at what point in time they start to group. Right now, they come into mid already, and they force, with the tempo that they have, they force the enemy team to also group up. So right now, Longzhu would prefer to be pushing the side lanes, right? But Immortals just pushed first and maintained this part of the river for the entire duration from now until the Drake spawns and the Drake situation. And there's no pressure for Immortals to respond to, right? That's why I kind of mentioned maybe Longzhu could be hitting bottom tower now. But to be honest, if he was hitting the tower right now, then Ryze would have just ulted for him, and it would have been a bad situation too. So you could argue that it was a correct play from Khan here. Maybe he could have waited for the next mid wave and then went and hit tower, right? Because the next mid wave was crashing, and Immortals did in fact need to show. So the situation could have been that Jarvan just wait for the next mid wave and then hit the bottom tower and then created something. But once again, you know, Titanic Hydra, basing for Titanic Hydra is not a bad decision either. Then you should ask yourself the question if Longzhu should have just given this up. Because right now the pink wards are very well placed. We see a pink ward right here and right here. This is the only space where they don't have a pink ward, but they're standing there, right? They're standing there and the Varus ult comes out quick. It's very hard to approach this area. Like, how do you do it? There's really no way to do it. They should have just checked with Talia wall and check if someone was there. Maybe Jarvan flag in this bush, take it slow, you know, face check the bush very, very slowly, and then maybe they would have been in time. Because the Talia wall can stall the Drake for a very long time, right? So maybe they should have just been more patient with this, use the Jarvan flag to get vision, and then eventually approach the Drake. But either way, it's not a good situation for Longzhu. Immortals set it up very well. So it's 1 for 0, and also an Infernal Drake. So now Longzhu are committing to the play they probably should have committed to before, where they pretty much recognize that Drake is an unsolvable situation because the angle that Immortals took over was just better. They could have just committed on the play on top side. They knew that Immortals was doing Dragon. Let's see, this is going to be close. This is going to be very close. 2k. It looks like this is going to be a Nash. Oh my goodness. Holy moly. Very, very close. And this is massive, right? This is so huge. Longzhu, they have Baron on 3 people. I imagine that Gorilla spawned in time. I think he has the Baron buff right now. Should be no problem. Go for 2. Ole died as well though, because he just kind of flashed and Morgana ulted for no reason. Ole has been kind of iffy this game, I feel. Alright, let's continue. Ole, Ole died. I guess he went 1 for 1. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. Okay, let's continue. Let's reassess the situation. So Longzhu had a situation on Drake where they couldn't do anything to come in there. Immortals committed all the resources into it, right? They were all in on that, and Longzhu needed a way to pressure them. They recognized that they could pressure Nashor, but maybe they could have done this play earlier. Maybe they could have done this play a bit earlier. Karma didn't need to die. Maybe they should have just commit on that previously, like they Talia wall. They used Talia wall to secure Nashor, and then maybe it would have been a better situation. They know that the teammates of Immortals, the team, like all the players of Immortals were right here, and they walked towards Drake. Maybe they could have just walked straight to Baron, cleared the wards, and then Talia walled, and then off of that situation create something better. Or maybe they just Talia wall straight to Drake to check if everyone's there, and then just started straight up, and maybe it would have been an even better situation. But who knows, Immortals didn't need to commit so many people towards the Drake, right? Ezreal could have soloed the Drake, and then it would have been completely fine as well. But it was a smart Baron play from Longzhu. The main thing is like they committed 5 people to hit Drake. That is also a mistake from Immortals, right? So it's not like Longzhu did like this. They did a good punish, but their play could have also been it could have been stopped for sure. Oh, Xmidi. Rise here is out of position. Xmidi is doing the cuz. He's trying to sneak in here and maintain this space, which is also always juicy to hit kind of hit Ezreal Qs with. But this was very, very risky and unnecessary. Rise is out of position now for the fight. What needed to happen here is Immortals need to just stay grouped, and Xmidi was just too far away. Like Cody-san got chunked big time, and Xmidi didn't play accordingly. Like there's no way for Immortals to fight here. I think Xmidi was a bit too confident because his team was, well, is on paper a bit like can still fight at this point, But problem now is Longzhu is reaching breaking points for Tristana, and when those are reached, there's no one really that can deal with Tristana. When we reach 3 items on Tristana, what is going to kind of happen? That's kind of the annoying part about Baron, right? Usually Baron is going to be the deciding factor, and if you have a team come like Immortal, they spike pretty hard around 20-25 minutes, they want to be the ones taking the Nashor. So this mistake about Nashor is pretty massive. They should have kept Ezreal doing Drake, and then there should have been 4 around mid to gain priority and still be in position to do Baron, because for sure Ezreal can solo Drake. There's no big deal on that. They committed 5 man to kill a dragon. This is not Game of Thrones, This is, sure, it could be Game of Thrones where all of these people are those guys that ride the horses with spears, And Xmidi is definitely one. He could have soloed Drake, no big deal, and it would have been fine. I hope that wasn't a spoiler, man. So right now it's hard for me to imagine a situation where Immortals kind of deal with this Tristana. Ezreal wasn't even here, and Immortals just needed to give some up, Like Ezreal died, and Varus needed to base. They needed to just give some of this up. Pobelter, can he do something about this? Oh, Pobelter. Oh, 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 Tristana. The game is over, right? Ding, 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 ding. And it's all over. Longzhu with the knockout. It is over in theory, right? Longzhu have the items they need on Tristana. Let's just reassess this game, right? Longzhu, what they need to do to close this out, they need to take another tower, push another wave, and then base, and then play with this top wave that they can surf. Maybe they need another Baron, but to be honest, the wave clear on Immortals is so weak that they can probably just push through with the range advantage of Tristana, and it should be good enough. Played a great Tristana this game. So let's reassess this game. The main thing that happened was we had the TP play on bottom. We talked about that for a very long time, where if Maokai fulfilled this TP, they would have gained priority on both bot and mid and would have been a better situation for them to transition into Drake, because this gave Longzhu a free dragon where Khan stayed and then eventually killed Ole, and they could have kind of escorted Ryze to go into mid lane. Something that Kaz did very well this game was zone Ryze off of multiple waves, and he played it wonderfully well. Xmeri is out and about, but this doesn't matter anymore. I want to reassess the game. I felt like this game I was kind of low energy. I didn't really eat anything yet, so I'm going to eat after this. My wonderful girlfriend bought me some food, and I'm just feeling the smell right now, and it's driving me crazy. The other thing that happened was the Drake situation, where Immortals committed too many people to doing the Drake. And when you have the team composition that falls off compared to the enemy team, when they are the one with Tristana, it's important that you secure the first Nash. Because if you don't, you're going to lose the game most likely. Because right now, Tristana with these items, there's no way you deal with it. No way. There's no way. Ardent Sensor and all the memes, they come from this. They come from this point in the game of Tristana. So the Baron was very, very clutch. But in general, I'm very impressed by how Immortals play. They use their timings very, very well. And they got caught a bit. Xmithy got caught a couple of times, but I think they recognized their win condition and they played to it very well. And I think that was very impressive. I think Immortals, I have them pinned as the second place taker in this group. And I think if they play like this against Fnatic, I think definitely they can do better than Fnatic. I think Longzhu did a lot of ingenious things with the Cuz zoning of Ryze and how they played the Drake situation. So so far I am not 100% impressed by Longzhu. I think they could have done some things better here and there, but Immortals definitely, if some of those Morgana Qs hit when they should have hit, then maybe this game would have looked slightly differently. The follow up. I think Varus of Cody Sun is very, very good, and that Baron was just such a deciding factor. So I'm going to leave it at that. I need to eat, I need to get some energy. I'll see you guys in the next game. Thank you very much.